Hey there, thanks for clicking. This is Joe Fritz, aka Paraptor Keat, and today I'm going to be drawing another piece for the Metal Jesus Whatchamahoosit that I'm doing. Today is going to be Kinsey. You can see her up there, looking very cute, holding a beer and some Nintendo powers, I believe. Um, yeah, I don't know what much to say except I mean when me and John first talked about maybe doing this as like a t-shirt, like a group shot type t-shirt, he mentioned that Kinsey really liked Sailor Moon, so I should do her like Sailor Moon. So I'm kind of doing that, but given that this is going to be like, Rob Zombie style artwork, I wanted to do it kind of like a spooky Sailor Moon. So I kind of came up with a couple ideas to kind of combine the sailor costume with maybe like a vampira type thing, or a Elvira, just basically just cover with Halloween decorations. So yeah, I ended up drawing this. I spent a lot of time on this because I wanted to get it right. You can see I have a little drawing. Someone did. I believe their name is pronounced Kia. It's Keah. They are on DeviantArt, and that's where I got this picture of Chibi Moon from. And the proportions and pose were similar to what I was looking for, so I went ahead and used that as the basis for this, and I just kind of kept it up to try and match it as much as I wanted to. I didn't want to completely copy it because I didn't want it to... I don't know. I just didn't want to copy it. I had to dig through a lot of body pillows and maybe some inappropriate artwork to find that one. But I think Kia did an amazing job on that. I love the coloration. It's given me some ideas for some of the stencil work I want to do later on. I'm playing around a lot with the skirt area, trying to figure out how I want it to look. I think I ended up just simplifying it. I mean, on Chibi Moon over there, it's kind of just a tutu, but I ended up making it just kind of like a skirt. Oh yeah, when I was Googling stuff for Kinsey, I ended up like scrolling down through pictures of her and finding a picture of Sting from Dune. I'm like, why is this here? So I ended up like following it to a podcast that she had been on, and I ended up like listening to it while while I was drawing this. So that was a lot of fun. All right. So I'm basically just doing my usual sketching technique with my shaky hands, and it is kind of intimidating having someone else's artwork kind of staring you in the face while you're trying to draw. I don't know. It is getting to the point where I should be able to start painting soon. I thought about doing some yesterday, but it was still kind of cold. Especially in the room where I do my painting, which I think I'll probably just post a video of kind of showing that room and what I've done to get ready and all that. So yeah, I guess I'm just more at home using stencils and playing around with color in that way than drawing now. Of course, I like to do the stencils and stuff because it's something I can sell when I go to conventions. And it keeps it's a good excuse for going out going out to a convention if I can make a little bit of money. Now this is the point where I said to myself, let's try to make this let's try to make Kinsey like a canon. Well, at least my head canon, or something. Yeah, just like some kind of like fan work of. I decided to make her Sailor Bacchus, which is an actual asteroid in space, named after the Roman god of intoxication. So, and because Kinsey likes beer, that's perfect. And because this is like a spooky Rob Zombie, Halloween decoration style setting, I decided to that Bacchus would be a really great. Because he kind of looks like the devil. Because the Romans kind of combined a couple different Greek gods to come up with Bacchus, Pan, and Dionysus, and all that. So I was like, yeah, she can be Sailor Bacchus. And then, of course, I'm giving her those wings on the side there, kind of like, is it Lilith from the Darkstalker series? I think there's a couple different characters that have those in Darkstalkers. But I just think they're cool, and the way they kind of come off the waist, it's sort of like the bow on Chibi Moon's costume. So I thought that was a neat way to kind of have similar shapes, basically. Of course, feet are tricky. Feet and hands are tricky. It takes a lot of practice to find ways to kind of cheat your way around feet and hands. I still haven't mastered it. You can see I take a lot of time on this foot over here because didn't look quite right before. So I'm playing around trying to make sure I get the right pose for it. Get the positioning so it looks like a 3D object in space rather than a weird like Picasso style image where you can see the different angles of something from a single angle. I want it to look like an actual object in space. I have a little trouble with this hand too, but yeah, like I said, I've learned you just have to practice hands, and since I'm doing a cartoony style, I don't really worry too much about accuracy or anything like that. Big old frosty mug of beer she's holding in her hand, almost like that's her amulet or whatever. The Bacchus symbol almost looks like, because you know how all the Sailor Scouts have those symbols that are just like the planet symbol with a heart on it. The Bacchus symbol almost has like a half a heart on it already. So Sailor Bacchus is perfect. If I was thinking about it, I might have put it on that mug somehow, worked it in, but I don't know. It works out. Cat is underneath the desk, scratching his ear and making lots of noise. Thank you, kitty. And, just messing around with that hand, trying to get it just right. Almost looks like a Halloween beer advertisement when I'm done. When Rob Zombie draws women, he draws them in a certain way. And I know Kinsey. I don't know if she considers me a friend yet. Maybe just an acquaintance. Whenever I go to conventions with John, we usually end up eating dinner with Kinsey somewhere, and her boyfriend, husband. Gosh, I don't even know. That's how well I know her. And I just don't feel comfortable drawing her in the same style that maybe Rob Zombie would. So I chose this style, and I will be drawing other that darn cat. I will be drawing other women who've been on Metal Jesus' channel. So and I'm gonna try to avoid I'm going to try to make them interesting characters rather than objects. We'll just say that. I would rather make an interesting character than just exaggerate things in that way. I have a little trouble with these wings here. Trying to get them. Again, it's about trying to make them a 3D object in space. So I have to mess around with it quite a bit to try and figure it out. I try a lot of different things. You're going to see me erase a lot of lines. I'm still not entirely happy with them, but I'm doing this for practice. That's what I tell myself when I don't want to get too stressed out about how bad I am at drawing. I'm doing this for practice and fun. When I finish all the other drawings, I will be kind of going in and cleaning up everything, maybe even redrawing some of them without recording it. That way, I make sure I do a good job instead of feeling like time pressure to put out a video and all that stuff. So, but yeah, just playing around with stuff here, just trying to figure out what works. Try to incorporate as much of the Sailor Moon design in there so that you can kind of see that it is a Sailor Moon character. Yeah, I hunted around for a Chibi Moon drawing that would be appropriate, and there's quite a few. I mean, I'm exaggerating when I say there's just a bunch of body pillows and stuff. Here I'm drawing her hair, making it kind of look like fire blowing up because she's flying. And I figured that would be a fun way to show her hair. But yeah, digging around through pictures of body pillows, which, the older I get and the more children I am an uncle and father to, Japan's attitudes about underage girls becomes less of a a tolerable cultural difference and more of a I don't want to see this. But I will say there is looking at fan art, which I do a lot because I like drawing and I like to see other people's work. When they draw one particular character, Lena Inverse from the Slayers series, when they draw her in a we'll just say compromising position, she always seems to be enjoying herself, which I appreciate as somebody who, when he seeks out that type of entertainment, will say I like it when everybody is enjoying themselves. Hopefully I'm not being too cryptic. I'm trying to keep it PG-13. And Lena Inverse, for whatever reason, at least in the mind of her fans, Lena Inverse is DTF. In most cases when fans are drawing artwork of these, female anime characters, it's usually kind of questionable whether or not she's having a good time. We'll just say that. But Lena Inverse, for whatever reason, having a great time. And you know what? Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. But yeah. I felt a little weird bringing that anecdote up, and then I listened to that podcast Kinsey was on where she talked about getting laid in Witcher, and I was just like, you know what? She wouldn't mind. All right. Just doing some touch-ups on the eyes here. Obviously, I decided to give her just anime-style eyes since that's kind of the style I'm going for here. They're not exactly anime style. They're somewhere between anime and the kind of eyes I usually draw. It's just something I felt comfortable doing. And it's always nice to get rid of your construction every now and then while you're drawing. I see a lot of artists too, they'll flip their image back and forth to try and, see how it looks backwards, forwards, upside down, all that stuff. A lot of times you notice your mistakes easier when you flip them upside down. And here I'm doing the Clerks animated series style delineation. I picked this up from Clerks the animated series. It's a quick, cheap, easy way to make it look like you have good line quality when you don't. A lot of times it'll like clean up some of the things that some of the mistakes I made. You just pick a different pen and draw heavier lines around everything that's in front of anything else. Real easy. Like I said, hair's fun once you figure it out. You just kind of have to figure out what the shape of it is. I'm going to dig in my pocket here and pull up my notes since I've run out of things to talk about. Let's take a look here. Oh, yes. Richard Dawkins recently retweeted something that made me kind of chuckle. Apparently, since we can grow, clean meat, in quotation marks, in a lab, he thinks it'd probably be a good idea to grow human meat to get rid of the stigma of cannibalism. Personally, I think he needs Jesus. That was a joke. Yeah, I mean, it's like way to confirm every slippery slope argument anyone's ever made about atheism. Great job, Richard. The Oscars happened, which is great. I think the real winner at the Oscars was people with fish fetishes. It's been a long, hard road, and I'm going to pretend like I was always an ally, since it's now acceptable. That was another joke. I'm just, I'm spitballing here. I'm working some material here to fill time. Oh, have you heard about this Wonder Bread artist? He commissions artists to draw. It's always the same thing. It is, let's see. He asked for vague commissions where it's a very detailed request where about a rich woman shopping in a grocery store full of expensive Wonder Bread overflowing in her cart. Basically, she's a rich woman shopping and she's got Wonder bread just all coming out of her cart. And this guy commissions all these different artists to do it, and he has a DeviantArt page where he posts them, and it's just kind of great. It's like, hey, Wonder Bread, if you're listening, I'm game for anything. So if you've got money, I've got your Wonder Bread. I got your fix. I thought that was so funny when I read that. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I got for that right now. I thought that would fill more time, me vamping on that stuff. Guess I was wrong. This is going to be like a 40-minute video. Sorry, I couldn't make it any shorter. There's probably a way I can make it shorter, but it would probably make it look really crazy how fast it's going. So, yeah. Delineation. That's what they call that when you trace. It's a fancy word for tracing. Coming up, I'm going to start thinking about color on this. And what I ended up doing is I I colored it. I almost completely colored it. And you're going to see it right there. It's that's like almost completely colored, but I don't like those colors. I didn't like the way they turned out. So bye-bye. Yeah, I ended up coloring it almost entirely and was like, I don't like the way this is looking. So I slept on it, and then I woke up, took another look at it, and said, I'm redoing this. And then I pulled up a picture of Queen Beryl from the Sailor Moon series. Now, I am a Sailor Moon fan. Think about that how you will. Take that however you want. I was a Sailor Moon fan in high school when it was appropriate for me to be interested in high school girls. So, and I don't know. It just feels a little weird calling myself a Sailor Moon fan now. I don't want people to take it the wrong way, because I do think Sailor Moon is a great series. The idea that Sailor Moon herself is klutzy and not very smart. She's not the smartest. She's not the strongest. She's not anything. But her friendship and her just overall positivity brings the team together. The team wouldn't exist without her. Regardless of whether you believe in destiny or whatever exists on that show, the team wouldn't exist or stay together without her. And I think that is kind of cool. It's a cool message to teach kids about how to treat your friends and all that. And I just think it's a really fun show, and it's got a great message. And I took a lot from it when I was younger. And somehow I turned out straight. I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't know how that happened. Because I definitely like musicals too. And I'm a weird artsy kid. But for some reason, straight. I don't know. You figure it out. I've been racking my brain. But no, seriously. Yeah, I love Sailor Moon. So I pulled up this picture of Queen Beryl here. And I'm literally like lifting colors from that color palette and putting it into this. So unlike the other ones where I was just like, yes, I'm going to use a bright color, boom, make it stand out, I decided to do something different with this one. Have a little bit of fun. And I'm literally pulling colors out of that to just basically use that as a color palette. And that was a little weird because I forgot to click contiguous, and I used the paint bucket tool. And if you don't click on contiguous, it will fill in everything that is the color you are clicking on with that color. It's a really handy thing to do when you're trying to do some things that I'll be showing you when I start working on stencils, which my next video is going to be a tutorial on how to make stencils out of pixel art, which it's super easy, but I'm going to show you. And you're going to be doing it yourself in no time, if you so choose. Yeah, I'm going to do Pikachu. It'll be great. And I forgot what I was talking about before when I was talking about stencils. Before I talked about stencils. I don't know. Anyways, I like this color palette a lot more. It seems more appropriate than the big, bright Wonder Woman colors I had her with before. But I do keep her hair the same. I play around with stuff. The cat's probably going to cause a catastrophe over there. I don't know. We'll see. Again, watching this, I can see a lot of little mistakes that I made, which I want to go in and clean up if we ever turn this into a shirt, which we probably will at some point. But obviously I want to make stuff that I can sell at conventions immediately. And I'm so slow when it comes to drawing that yeah. With a spray can though, I can make a lot of stuff real quick. So I came up with the idea that the inside of the wings are red, the outside of the wings are that purple color. So the stuff around her collar is like the top part of a wing. If you could see it from the back, it would be red. So that was kind of my idea. And, and I had the idea of her being kind of this nega Sailor Scout, with black instead of white in her uniform, which they do make. They do have uniforms in Japan where they have all sorts of different school uniforms in Japan, and sometimes they're dark and sometimes they're white. I mean, if I had to wear a uniform to school, I'd rather have a dark one so that if I stained it up, no one would notice. But that's just me. I'm a slob. So, he said as he drank his Coke Zero on microphone. I don't want no scrub. Anyways, no singing. Do not do that. But yeah, I gave her this cute little bat instead of the crystal, and right there in between. I don't know. I was trying to come up with something there, and I thought like a bat with his wings spread out would kind of take the place of the bow. I thought that would be a cute idea. Of course, that skin tone is it's like a pallor almost. I went with kind of a neon yellow hair that I'm going to be adding some more texture to with different colors. And then I gave her kind of like red tips, which I've seen her hair like that, and I think it looks really cool. So I went ahead and gave her that. And, it's going to take me a bit to color this in. Coloring in that beer. Make that beer look nice and frosty. Yeah, we end up going out to dinner with Kinsey at almost every convention. And we end up, she almost always gets like a taster sampler of all the beers that they offer or whatever, or just a nice, sample of all the beers that they can fit on a sampler or whatever, and ends up picking one or two of them. And I just think that's, I don't know, it's cool. I usually end up just getting a cider when I go to these places because cider is a pretty consistent taste. Although I do like beer. I like a good IPA. I used to think I didn't like beer. Because, you'd go to a party and you would just drink the cheap beer that they had there. I don't know. Maybe I'm coming across as kind of hipstery when I say this. But yeah, it turns out I don't like cheap beer. I like I like beer that they put some flavor into. And that's not true of everything. I like a Belgium style beer. I love Shock Top. I know that's not really an indie beer, underground beer or whatever. It might have been before, but yeah, a Shock Top with a slice of orange, very good. Yeah, the best cheap beer I think is probably just Corona with a little bit of lime in it. Here I am just kind of playing around with. I couldn't figure out what to make that little point on her boots, what color to make that, so just playing around. Here I am adding a nice amber color to the beer. Yeah, That looks tasty. That's gross. But yeah, with hair, hair is fun. It's something I still haven't quite mastered yet, but hair can be really fun to draw. You basically just draw some nice lines, and you figure out what the shape of the hair is, basically, because hair is a shape. It's a bunch of individual strands, to be sure, but when you see it from a distance, it's just a shape. I mean, and what I like to do is just find the shapes, shade those shapes the way you would shade any shape. But you just shade it with some nice lines showing where the hair is flowing. So that's how I shade that stuff. But yeah, it's like she's swooping in with the beer. Just like, hey, this one's mine. You should go get your own. Red eyes, I don't know. I just thought the red eyes looked better. I think I tried purple on the other one. I didn't like them as much. Makes her look more like a vampire or something with the red eyes. It makes her look like a Halloween decoration with the red eyes. All right, yeah. For some reason, I can't close out of Photoshop to show you guys stuff on the computer, and unless I don't want to close out of Photoshop. So maybe next time I go to my browser to show you guys pictures of Sting and his skivvies, I should just pretend like I don't want that to happen, and then it'll happen. It's kind of like Murphy's Law. I kind of developed my own rules involving Murphy's Law. It's kind of weird. If there's something that's gonna take me a long time, like let's say I need to fix something. Like, I don't like to talk about work on here, but let's say back when I was installing cable. Yes, I used to install cable. I guess that's a story for another time. And there would be a problem that I would need to fix. If there was two possibilities for that problem. One would take me a few seconds to fix, and one would take me a few hours to fix. I would always grab the stuff. No matter how bulky or annoying, I would always grab everything I needed for the extra long thing that needed to get fixed, or extra long activity that would, I would grab the supplies to fix the extra long problem. Because anytime you do that, it's going to be the short problem. That's just the way it works. That's the way the universe sets itself up, at least for me. Some people seem to be able to just luck into things. Not me. So, but I can trick the universe, by doing that. So here I'm doing like little highlights, and you don't want to go overboard on highlights. Shading really makes it look like shading is good. The highlights, I feel like the highlights are what make it stand out and make it look three-dimensional. And once you add that, it always feels like it's like, oh yeah, okay, I get how that works now. But you don't want to go overboard on highlights. You want it to almost not even be noticeable. These wings were tricky because they're so big. So I did a lot of just drawing. I did a lot of just going around the edges and then filling it in from there, like you would in a coloring book or something. This is just I mean, this is like my adult coloring book, this stuff right here. Now that I think about it, it really is. This is my version of the adult coloring book. I actually thought about making one of those. I actually planned out a couple of things. I wanted to do like a zombie one. And there would be like, there'd just be pictures of zombies, and then like with lots of details and like maggots and stuff like that. Um, and then like one page would just be like a paisley pattern that's like nothing but like a paisley pattern like you'd have on like a scarf, or a bandana, but it's just made out of organs like brains and intestines and hearts and stuff like that, like real hearts, not the shape heart. But I don't draw fast enough, and I think by the time I finished that, not only would there already be a zombie coloring book, there probably already is right now. I'm guessing. But not only that, it would the coloring fad would be over by the time I finished it. I don't know. Maybe I'll do a Patreon, and that'll be, or a Kickstarter. Like, I don't know. I've thought about doing a Patreon. More on that to come, I think. I might do a Patreon if I start to pick up more followers. So tell your friends. Tell your friends how awesome and funny I am. Lie to them. I don't know what it is lately. I just feel a lot more comfortable holding this microphone now. It's probably the weather. It's probably that sun's coming out. I'm getting that vitamin D, that you don't get all winter. It causes that just winter funk. Now that winter's over, I don't feel as self-conscious, I guess. I don't know. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but yeah. I really like the I don't know. I probably mentioned it before, but I like how these colors are basically they're like a negative of like the Sailor Moon uniform, the Sailor Scout uniform. It's a negative of them. She's like a nega scout. She's like one of Queen Barrel's minions or whatever, like Nephlite and Malachite and all them. Sailor Bacchus. Some kind of like her special attack would be I can't even think of it right now. I don't know. I put myself on the spot. I should have planned it out ahead of time. I should have thought of that. Well, like what would her special attack be? It would make people drunk. It would just be like it's like bleh. Perfect for a kid show. Yeah, I noticed I didn't color in that shoulder thing over there. Whatever those shoulder things are called. There is an actual word for what this outfit is called, but I can never remember it. I should know it. I'm a nerd. I'm enough of a nerd that I should know exactly what the Japanese schoolgirl outfit is called in Japanese, but I just don't, I guess. Legs are tricky for me because I never, especially when they're wearing a skirt, I never know how much to shade it. I always feel like I shade it too much. Or not enough, or whatever. I don't know what it is with me when when I'm drawing with a pen. I'm always opening up all the most interesting windows and accidentally closing out of things, and then my pin settings get changed on me on accident or whatever. I don't know. Anyways, we're wrapping this one up. Thanks for joining me. I think this turned out really good. I think she's gonna like this one. We're gonna fly her in right here, right down next to Metal Jesus. I'm eventually gonna redraw Metal Jesus to make it give more room for this. But for now, she fits kind of snugly right in there, right next to Reggie and John. And then I'll eventually get into, I'm going to be drawing at least 3 other people over on the other side there. So stick around and find out who they are. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Keep being awesome.